I'll tell you about this guy I went to high school with. We're going to call him Steve. Steve was a year younger than me. Kind of heavy set guy. Had a real high voice. Kind of make you think he might have been gay. Which, again, this just speaks to the ignorance of how things worked in high school. Just because you have a high voice doesn't make you gay. But we always said if he wasn't, he was missing a good opportunity to be. But he wasn't, at least at the time, I think. Anyway, Steve, as I said, was a good singer, and I was in choir with Steve. But Steve was with the talented group. They had you had the choir itself, and then you had the talented and gifted ones that sang better, and you got to go on trips and stuff. I didn't really give a shit, because I wasn't one of the talented singers. Whatever, who cares? But he took it pretty serious, and it was pretty good. Well, we always had, in high school, a Veterans Day show where we sang and the band played, and it was, really nice. Had vets there. It was a lot of fun. Well, just, a good show. And the talented singers, the chamber group as they were called, were up there singing, and I was just sitting in the bleachers with the other have-nots, chatting with another guy, when we hear this drop and then bump, 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 because we sang on bleachers / risers. So the back row was up, I don't know, 4 feet, 5 feet tall, maybe even higher than that. And Steve had fallen, and he fell all the way down the bleachers. Like, it probably hurt. And the thing is, you're probably wondering, like, well, how did he fall? Did he trip? Because aren't you standing there singing? You are, but I don't really know the science behind it or anything like that, like how it works medically. But if you lock your knees, you pass out somehow. So you have to, keep moving your legs, your knees, without moving your, feet. It doesn't make much sense, but apparently if you lock, I don't get it, but I'm pretty sure that's what he did, because, he's so focused on singing. And, of course, people made fun of him, because why wouldn't you? Because that happened in front of the whole school, the entire student body, all the faculty, all the vets, everyone witnessed this. And he started crying, which, kind of the kiss of death in high school, because you don't cry when you're hurt. But whatever. He was fine after. But what really annoyed a lot of people, because he was kind of annoying, because he was self-important and prideful, was after it happened, he started deciding that he was now an expert on how to not pass out on stage. Just a life skill that can write your way on Wall Street and get you into Harvard. Because he's like, well, this is what I do. And all I thought was, dude, you were the last person that needs to tell people how to do this thing you failed at. But anyway, that happened. And about a year or so later is my junior year, and the way our high school worked, you were supposed to take chemistry as a sophomore, but Steve was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I want to take anatomy. So he's in anatomy with me, Charles, and some other mischievous folks that we were. It was the teacher's first class. It was the last class of the day. Had mostly seniors, so even John, the 5th grade badass, was in there too. And we were forever punching each other in the nuts, hitting each other, farting in class. We would take whatever we were dissecting and throw it at each other. And here's a couple of things we did with Steve. Of course, Steve was annoying, so we'd hit him in the nuts a lot. And, just mess with him. We were dicks. I'm not proud of this behavior now, but he gave as good as he got, because he would make fun of you right back. But he had a decently hard time of it. Not bad, but anyway, one time we tried to go to class, and The door was locked. Apparently somebody, like a scalpel was missing. And this was serious. Like that's a weapon. And she called the principal, who called the school resource officer, who called another resource. Like, they were policing class. I think they eventually found it, because it was like serious. Like, that was. So we took note of that, and we were like, you know what? We're gonna get into his set of tools and hide his scalpel, so it looks like he's trying to steal it. Like I said, pretty horrible, albeit harmless pranks. But it didn't really work out, because Steve was not stupid. He was actually pretty smart, and so he immediately noticed it. Another time, and this one in particular, it is hard to forget. They were making fun of Steve because he was, he acted kind of gay. He was fat. High school people were assholes. I wasn't in on this, for one. I don't make fun of people's weight. I didn't make fun of people for being gay. I just hit them in the nuts. So yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're so much better than the other bullies. I know, whatever. So they're making fun of him, and finally Steve has enough and says, I hate, and we're going to insert an ethnic slur that's very insulting. And he immediately regrets it. But one girl took a particular offense and was having none of, we're not letting this go. She went to the office. I think she even went to the school board. She was having none of it. But here's my deal. You're sitting there making fun of him, calling him gay, calling him fat, and then he says something back, and it's all of a sudden not okay. But I mean, whatever. He shouldn't have said it, but that's more of a I'm sorry you're offended type deal. Because it's like, it's okay for me to cross the line, but when you cross the line, it's whatever. And then another time, like, this was at the lunchroom, and Frank is a good fella, but he likes to laugh inappropriate stuff. And Steve had spilled his entire tray of, I think, chili or spaghetti on himself. And Frank's just dying laughing, and he's just pointing at him and laughing, because Frank doesn't care. And it is funny, but Steve was offended and said, you better watch your face, Frank. And Frank didn't know what to make of that, but I think Steve was just frustrated, because it is embarrassing. I mean, there's not much you can do. You just need to laugh at yourself in that situation when that happens. But anyway, I kind of lost touch with Steve, because we weren't friends, and I didn't really care either way. I was really indifferent to him, but it turns out he was gay. So poor guy had to suffer through all those dealings, and I don't know what he ended up doing with his life, but Steve made for some funny high school moments, even if they were inadvertent.